Long time ago, the first question that we answered. This question we have already kind of tackled some time ago, where someone sent the question and said, I have been trying to read Quran and memorize Quran, but it has been hard lately. And we spent 1 hour talking about Quran. I don't know if he is the same person or a different one who sent the other question that we tried. I wouldn't say we answered, but we tried to answer last time. So he said, I feel as though I want to memorize the Quran and do all these things, but I am sinning too much. Do you remember this question from last time? I don't know if it is the same person who is asking those questions or if they are different persons. I have a feeling he is the same one. So question number 1 that he sent long time ago, I want to memorize Quran but I cannot. And we told him, make sure that you take care of not doing bad sins. Allah is going to help you memorize Quran. And we spent 1 hour. Then he said, but I am sinning too much. How can I stop making sins? Then the third question came and he said, I want to stop doing those sins. But every time I decide not to do these sins, I come back again. So this is the question. I want to stop sinning, but it is really hard. I am always like, I will not do this bad thing. But I always do, and I regret it right after I do it. How do I stop? How do I stop doing that bad deed when I come back to doing it again? So he tries to stop doing the bad deed. Listen to me, Ya Ala. Listen to me. It's a good question, Ya Ala. Listen to me. So he's trying to stop the bad deed. And he tries. But after some time, he is not able and he falls again in the sin. How would we help him? Okay. Let me give you this one. So if he's not attending, he can listen to you over here. Tell Omar.
So, I had a similar situation, but then when I talked to my imam about it, he told me every time you do that sin or bad thing, pray 2 rak'at to Allah asking for forgiveness. Shaitan hates it when you pray more than you doing the bad deed. So each time pray 2 rak'at, so eventually he'll say, don't do it, you're gonna pray, just stop. Find some other bad thing. And when you do that other bad thing, keep praying those 2 rak'at, so to the point you stop doing bad things.
So you want to ask him every time he's doing the bad deed, he needs to do good deeds or even praying 2 rak'ah. And as we said last time, إِنَّ الْحَسَنَاتِ يُذْهِبْنَ السَّيِّئَاتِ. The good deeds are going to wipe the bad deeds. Okay, very good. Any other comments, suggestions? I just want to read few hadiths for the one who asked this question. So the first hadith that I'm going to read over here, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, Inna abdan asaba dhanba. There was a man, there was a slave of Allah. That slave of Allah committed a sin. فقال, that man said, ربي أذنبت. What did this man say? ربي أذنبت. Oh Allah, I made a mistake. Forgive me. This is what he said. ربي أذنبت فاغفر لي. Oh Allah, I made a sin. I made a mistake. Forgive me. فقال ربه. Allah said. This is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. أعلم عبدي أن له رب أعلم عبدي أن له ربا يأخذ بالذنب ويغفره. Did my slave know that he has a Lord? That Lord can forgive the sin and he can punish for the sin? Did he know this? Those who come late, quick, please go quick. No. Again, ya shabab. Again, let me start from the beginning. I want to make sure that I'm reading this hadith and everyone is paying attention. So there was a man. What did this man do? Listen to me, ya shabab. This hadith is very important. Amira, listen to me, Amira. If you cannot come to the front, I want to make sure everyone is listening over here. Run, Yasmin. Run, Yusra. Everyone sit down, please. Sit down, ya Layan.
Last word. Okay.
So, Imam, we are going to answer the question from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there was a man. That man made a sin. So that man, he realized, I made a sin. So he came and said, Oh Allah, أذنبت, I made a sin. فاغفر لي, forgive me. Allah says, this is what Allah says, أعلم عبدي أن له ربا يغفر الذنب ويأخذ به. Did my slave know that he has a Lord? That Lord can forgive the sin, and that Lord can also punish by this sin. Then Allah says, I forgave him. That slave, he stayed for some time. Then he committed the same sin again. So he came to Allah and said, Oh Allah, أذنبت, I made a sin, forgive me. Allah is gonna repeat the same thing. أعلم عبدي أن له ربا يغفر الذنب ويأخذ به. Did my slave know that he has a Lord? That Lord can forgive the sin, and that Lord can punish for the sin. I have forgiven him the second time. The third time, after some time, the man came and did the same sin, and he said, Oh Allah, I made a sin. Allah said, أعلم عبدي أن له ربا يغفر الذنب ويأخذ به. Did my slave know that he has a Lord? That Lord can forgive the sin, and that Lord can punish by the sin. غفرت له, غفرت له, غفرت له. I have forgiven him, I have forgiven him, I have forgiven him. Let my slave do whatever he wants. So, Shabab, the one who is trying to stop the sin, he is trying, and I can feel from this question, the one who asked the question, he is trying to stop the sin. He is trying hard, but maybe he is not able to. So after some time he commits the sin. Then he said, Oh Allah, I made a mistake, and I am gonna stop the sin. He is gonna try, and he is sincere, but he is not able to. So he commits the sin again. So he asks Allah for forgiveness, and Allah forgives him. After some time he commits the same sin. So the one who asked the question, even if you keep doing the same sin, once you do the sin, say, Allah, I made a sin, forgive me. Be sincere and make the intention, I will not go back to the sin. I will not go back to the sin. If you are sincere in your intention, maybe you are going to fall in the same sin again. Make istighfar again. Decide, I'm not going to do it. Day after day after day, Allah is going to help you stop the sin. Just keep trying. Keep trying. As long as each time you decide sincerely, I'm not going to do this sin again, Allah is going to forgive you. And Allah loves to listen to, Oh Allah, forgive me. Ya Shabab, we read last time, if the people over here are not making sins, Allah is going to replace them by other people who are going to make sins. So seek forgiveness from Allah, so that Allah would forgive them. So if you are doing the same sin again, as long as every time you do the sin, number one, you say, I made a mistake. Don't argue. I made a mistake. Oh Allah, I made a mistake. This is number one. Second, oh Allah, forgive me. Third, I decide not to do the sin again, and do your best. Even if it happens and you fall in the same sin, inshallah, keep trying. One day Allah is going to help you. Read this ayah, Shabab. وَالَّذِينَ إِذَا فَعَلُوا فَاحِشَةً أَوْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ ذَكَرُوا اللَّهِ. And those who, when they commit immorality or wrong themselves by transgression, what do? They remember Allah. ذَكَرُوا اللَّهِ فَاسْتَغْفَرُوا لِذُنُوبِهِمْ. Oh Allah, I made a mistake, forgive me. And seek forgiveness for their sins. And who can forgive sins except Allah? One of the worst deeds, ya Shabab, that you can ever do. One of the worst deeds that you can ever do is to think that you have committed a sin that Allah cannot forgive. A'udhu billah. This is one of the worst sins. that you think I did something too big that Allah cannot forgive. Allah can forgive anything. وَمَنْ يَغْفِرُ الذُّنُوبَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. And who can forgive sins except Allah? But there is one condition, ya shabab. وَلَمْ يُصِرُّوا عَلَى مَا فَعَلُوا وَهُمْ يَعْلَمُونَ. And do not persist. Do not insist on making the sin. So here is the point. You make a sin. You need to sincerely make the intention, I will never do this again. Sincerely, I will never do this again. If it happens and you were not able to control yourself and you made the sin again, seek forgiveness again from Allah. And say, oh Allah, I made a mistake, forgive me, help me to stop this sin. Do it once, twice, thrice, as many as you do the sin. If you are sincere, Allah is going to forgive you. Allah is going to help you stop the sin. Make sense? Sounds good? Okay. As I said, I don't know the one who is asking those questions, if he is the same person or not. But looks like it is not becoming questions, it's more of a dialogue. But I love these ones. I love these ones, wallahi. And if tamkeen is nothing but changing your heart so that you feel, I made a sin and I fear Allah, that's good by itself. Do you know who asked the question? Okay, don't say. Right. May Allah reward the one who asked the question. Let me move to another question. Okay. If I was at school, and now we are going to address a question or two that is really very close to our life. This is something that happens to you. Maybe it didn't happen to me much when I was in your age, and you're going to understand why. If I was at school and the teacher puts me partners with a guy, girl, what should I do? So looks like, for sure, whenever I was in my high school or middle school, it's either boys' school or girls' school. So we didn't have this problem at my time, unfortunately, inshallah. Okay, so they are asking, if the teacher is trying to put me with partner from the opposite gender, what should I do? Should I be partners with them, or should I tell the teacher? If I need to tell the teacher that I cannot be partners with them, how should I do it so she won't think I'm being rude because I don't want to work with the person? Did you get the question? So there is someone, probably a girl, asking this question, I guess. She is saying, if the teacher is trying to put me with a boy in the same project, should I be partners in the project with the other gender, or should I tell the teacher, no, I want to make sure that all my work group, they are from the same gender? This is the question. For sure, as I said, when I was in your age, it was boys' school or girls' school. So I talked to a couple of our girl leaders over here, and I found their answer to be an answer that I cannot articulate it in a better way than what they did. So what we are going to do to answer this question, I have asked Layan to break down the question into smaller questions. As we said last time, before we say yes or no, we want to make sure we do the analysis of the problem. Let's take the bigger question, break it down into smaller questions. Then we ask them one after the other. So Layan is going to, inshallah, volunteer to moderate the question. Sally and Nada, they are going to be the guest speakers, where Layan, she's going to be interrogating them. Again, ya shabab, I just want to mention that this question is for the girls and for the boys only. It doesn't mean that, I am a girl and my teacher put me with a boy in the project. This question is also for boys. If a boy and you are doing a project and the teacher said, okay, this is your work group and you have partners from the opposite gender, what would you do? For sure, your first question is to do what? Ask how beautiful the other one is, correct? So the answer is gonna based on who is the yes or no? Yes. Okay. Okay, so let me give you the mics. What is the other microphone?
Right here.
Okay. See, yeah, we can bring chairs for sure. Yes.
Are we going to ask questions?
Let me see, Alain, how you are gonna manage. You
So
don't
how's
need a
everyone
chair,
doing
Alain.
today?
Do you want to share one chair or do you need another chair? Can we get another chair? Okay. No. That's good. Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
How's everyone doing today? Thank you, Siraj. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Barakallah
you.
fik ya Siraj. Please listen.
I feel welcome. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, start by asking the question. Where is your microphone? Because, yeah. No, you start one at a time, Alain. This is to moderate this kind of interview. You want to ask them one question at a time.
Are there any possible partners that you can be with other than the person that she assigned you?
Are you asking them or are you asking their teacher? Yeah, Alain, you are interviewing them. You are not interviewing the teacher.
Can you describe the situation?
Can I ask the question? Okay.
Describe the situation.
So you're in class and you have a group project where you need to work with someone else. So first of all, basically there can be two situations. Either it's a temporary situation, so the teacher is like, turn to the person next to you, discuss this problem, find out the answers. Or it's like a long-term project where you have to meet outside of class and spend personal time discussing and talking to that person.
What do you do in the first situation then?
So in the first situation where if it's just temporary during class, it's okay. It doesn't really matter because they're not really your friends, they're just an acquaintance. You usually end up talking to other people in your class, doesn't mean you have to spend personal time with them. In that case, it should be fine.
So if I'm going to jump in and do the job of Layan, this means if the teacher on the spot said, okay, here's a question, talk to the one next to you, discuss this question and give me an answer. Something like this, correct? Okay, so you're saying that's okay. It is going to be something on the fly. It's okay for you.
All right, second situation is if it's a long-term project, if it's over a course of like a month or a year, a week. It varies on the ratio, I would say. So if you can tell your teacher in advance that you don't want another person from another gender due to religious reasons or you're uncomfortable, whatever floats your boat, I would advise doing that. But if the ratio is like one, for example, in my case, if it's like one guy and like 5 girls, I guess I'd roll with it if my teacher doesn't want me to change. But talk to it.
And also, if you tell your teacher in advance that this is just a general rule that you have, you're going to avoid offending anyone because you're not going to be like, I don't want to work with this person specifically. It's just general for the opposite gender. So the teacher will understand that you're not just trying to be picky or like just not listening to her instructions, basically.
So recommendation that you said that if it is a long-term project, you would recommend talking to the teacher, correct?
Yes.
Correct, Alain? This is what you understood?
Yeah.
Okay, do the job.
Next point would be talking to your parents, being open with them about any group project that you have with a person from the opposite gender in. Just because if there's like a group text or you guys have to meet outside of class, your parents know and are aware about it, and it helps you set your boundaries. And if you know that your parents know, you won't do anything bad, you know?
Yeah, just make sure if you're going to meet, it's somewhere that your parents approve of, like at the library or at school. Probably not a good idea to go to someone's house. If you need to contact one another, do it on a group text, something that basically everyone can see so you have limits and boundaries.
How clear do you have to make your boundaries?
Basically that you can't be alone with somebody of the opposite gender.
So if you need to meet as a working group, do you meet at school or outside the school? Do you meet at school or at the disco?
Can you chat out?
Yeah, definitely at school if you can.
Okay, so which means we need to meet if we have to be, it needs to be at the school.
Yeah.
Can you chat online? Not in a group chat, by like personal chats. Yeah. You slide into the DMs. No.
What if they're like not opposite gender? What if they don't qualify as a gender?
That's a really good question. No, for real though. That's a really good question.
No, that's not a question. In Islam, Surah
No, yani, I get it.
No, but you're saying that some people say they're neither male nor female.
Yeah, they say
in Surah Yeah, and like we don't recognize that as a valid argument whatsoever. And scientists themselves, they know the biological differences between male and female, so they can say whatever they want to say. But most of the time, it's pretty obvious. Number one. I also have a question for you guys. Like living in America, you're not going to be able to keep this up. The idea of having to watch your ratio, if you want to work and study in the United States, this is going to be a problem you face on a daily basis. So I don't know.
No, you're right. Like
My question is, like, what is the... Like, I'm trying to figure out what is the Islamic context to it. Like, I understand, like, my personal belief, you can work with people because you're not going to be able to pick in university who your group is. When you start work, you might be outnumbered by men, depending on your field. But the idea is that, like, I don't know, I feel like if you set your own personal boundaries, if you make it clear, like, what your boundaries are, then you can be a Muslim entirely with this group of people and still work with them professionally, but that's about it.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Malak, and especially if you're in university or work, you don't have much control. If you're in like middle school or high school, you have more leeway in that sense because like your life doesn't usually depend on this. Islamically, there's one hadith that the Prophet said, which is that if a man and a woman are alone, then the third person, there is shaitan. So basically that's the boundaries that we have. And we also have the rulings of lowering the gaze for both men and women. So if you can maintain like those two basic Islamic standards and be very clear and upfront about it, then you should be fine.
But like, what if like, so like, your teacher, like, you were in the class and then like she assigned like partners, not like a group, just like partners, and then you were partners with like the opposite gender, but like it's not you, just them. It's like in the classroom, and the teacher said that you have to work together.
So it's in class and you're not going to have to go outside of class? Then it's fine. It's just temporary. Yeah, just make sure like if you have your boundaries are like what your boundaries are, and make sure that they know it too. Yasmin has a question.
What exactly are you supposed to tell your teacher if that teacher always puts you with like the opposite gender? Like what exactly?
Can I say something?
I mean, because we have freedom of religion here in America, all schools have to accommodate your religious beliefs. So it's like if you tell your teacher, I have to step out of class to pray Salah, let's say every Friday or whenever the time of Salah comes, she can't say no, right? So if you approach your teacher and you're like, because of my religion, I cannot be partnered with a guy, especially if you're going to work long term, and she still says no, then you have the right to bring in your... Bring in your parents, talk to the principal, and make sure that you have your rights as a Muslim in the school. Like just in class. Yeah, it's
I understand, yeah, like this is gonna be really, I understand, like these are really good values and guidelines, but this is for an Islamic society where everybody knows, like, what the ideas are supposed to be. You're gonna be put in groups with guys every single day, like if you're in public school, you know? Like just trying to be reasonable about it.
So basically, if you're saying it's like an unavoidable situation, you just don't put yourself in a situation where you're feeling tempted or there's fitna. So if you're not doing something haram, you don't want to be in a situation where it could lead to that. So just stay at like as much as you possibly can to not put yourself in a situation of fitna.
Wait, I want to add something. I want to talk about productivity. In a group, it's more productive if it's from the same gender, just because communication across genders is like tricky. Because if you're too nice, it's like, ooh, what does it mean? If you're like too harsh, it's like, does she hate me? You know what I mean?
Wait, what if the project requires both genders?
Like what? Like what kind of project would require more?
I don't know, like some scientific thing. I can't science, I'm sorry.
To work long term, yani?
Yeah.
I have never seen such a situation in Iran in my life.
I've never seen such a thing, therefore after.
If there is a specific situation, we want to discuss this situation. Okay.
What?
There are other questions.
Okay.
And we have question here also from the boys.
So, what if that person still takes it the wrong way? Like, you tell your teacher, I don't want to work with this person, religious reasons, all of that, but that person that you were going to work with took it the wrong way, and they just, even if you told them, oh, I'm sorry, religious reasons, they're just like, trying to make you feel good.
I mean, if you explain to them like your religious reasons and you were like, it's not personal, I have nothing against you, it's not about you, and they're still offended, you can't do anything about it at that point.
How about if you're like working in a group that it's all boys and you're the only girl?
We can't hear you there.
How about if you're working in a group that it's all boys and you're the only girl?
We have a question from here.
But again, Hidayah, I'm just going to say real quick, like, if you talk to your teacher beforehand, فمثلا أول, like, when the class first starts, tell your teacher, can you scoot? Tell your, Yasmin Ali, move. Tell your teacher that you can't be with a guy. Like, if you're in middle school and high school, I'm specifying it. So if you're middle school, high school, elementary, talk to your teacher beforehand so it doesn't get awkward like Yasmin and Hidayah were saying. Because once you get in that group and then you talk to your teacher, I can see how it can get awkward. And they might take it personally.
Yeah.
It should, but like this society, like this heteronormative society.
Yes, before.
The thing is that like the rules of Islam and fiqh are usually pretty straightforward, right, and simple in their guidelines. But Islam is also flexible and it applies to all situations, which is why it's not okay for us to say, well, because rules like this were made a long time ago, we shouldn't follow Islam anymore. We should just ignore them. We should accept the guidelines that we have and then apply them in our lifetimes, depending on the different situations. Which is why, like, we have muftis that give fatwas. Why do we have that if we have rules of Islam? Because every situation is unique and different.
So, in my opinion, talking to a girl or a girl talking to a guy is halal in a, like, limited, like, yeah. But, like, for example, in Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, before marrying Sayyidina Khadija, he was leading her business. Did he ever say that because she's a woman, I won't work with her? So, in my opinion, whenever it comes to business and school, it's halal to talk to a guy, or it's halal to talk to a girl.
And that's, yeah, I just wanted, like, I think this question is talking about, like, boundaries, because one thing leads to another. So, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So, whenever it comes out of business or out of school stuff, then that's not limit.
Yeah, Quran also says about when women are interacting with men, وَلَا يَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ. So it basically means that you have to be very straightforward and make sure you're to the point and you're not, like, flirtatious when you're speaking.
Yes, and you have a question? Or do you? Let me ask you a couple of questions, then I'm going to kind of summarize and we see where we go. So if you are working with one of the boys or whatever, and in the middle of the project, yes, that's good, and then he's trying to give you the high five, or something else, what would you do?
Rowan,
If
do you want to
she's
answer?
doing the project, and the boy is like, yeah, that's a good answer, and he's trying to give the high five. What should we do? Or he's trying to come close or do something that you can imagine. Yeah.
You can just be like air fight.
My young ladies, listen.
Rowan has something to say, guys. Settle down, please. Settle down. Thank you.
Over there. Oh, yeah. Hey. Yusra, listen.
Okay, so this actually happened
Yeah.
to me a couple of times. I'll say, oh, I can't. I'm a Muslim. I don't like to like high five or touch a guy's
Okay,
hand.
you're gonna say it explicitly.
Yeah, and they said okay. Like at first
Yeah.
it's awkward, and then after that it's like normal. Yeah, but it's like it's so like not normal nowadays because we don't do it. But if everyone like if our Muslim ummah gets stronger and we actually say no, we can't, it's gonna be a normal thing. But if you don't start now, like, it's gonna be hard later.
Barakallah.
I was gonna say something real quick. A lot of times before you start a group project, it doesn't really come straight to the high five. It's like, oh, my name is, and they shake your hand. So if you from that handshake, just go like about that. You know.
Okay, this is very good point, which is setting the boundaries from the beginning, which means at the beginning of the project, is kind of trying to shake hands from the beginning or something. She is gonna set the limits early on. So if he knows that she is not even shaking the hands, she will not be giving high five. This is very good point.
And it's something that will come up a lot in your professional life. If you end up going for a job interview,
Sorry. Yeah.
or working anywhere, it's something that's difficult because it'll happen a lot. You'll meet a lot of new people and it's just like, so you just have to be straightforward about it and let them know.
Very good.
So yeah, what you were saying, Sally, and like start in the beginning, like your boundaries right away. So like I have team sports and there's like 35 boys and like only 3 girls, and I'm in a team in volleyball. We have a team, right? And so like this guy wants like say good job, and I'm like no, I can't. And so as we were going through the volleyball game, like he would high five everyone, but he wouldn't do it to me because he knows. So yeah.
Yusra?
Basketball.
Then, quick, Mariam.
Okay, you can psych it. Well, I didn't hear you at all, Mariam.
Just.
Miss me in style.
Okay, so let's get
Sabrina
Yusra.
had something to say too. Leanne, Sabrina after.
No, but my question is, like, how do you like refuse to give someone a handshake or like a high five, like, oh hi, it's nice to meet you, without like being rude about it, like, sorry, I don't do handshakes, like that kind of sounds rude. So like, how do you say it without being rude?
You just have to be proud.
She's saying that it's gonna look rude if people don't shake hands. That's the question.
It's not going to look rude because you have a reason for it and you're not offending that person. And you also have to remember that a lot of people here think that Western culture is like the benchmark of progress or what's normal or not. There are so many other cultures around the world that do things differently. And for us, it's not a culture, it's a religion. It makes it more important. You think it's rude because you're so used to like this Western culture being what's normal and what's like the right way to do things or what's mostly accepted. But it's not.
I was going to add to that. I think the whole handshake, high five thing is actually a really good opportunity for dawah. So not just saying I don't shake hands, but explaining why, because really most people don't even understand Islam in general. So if you have someone come up to you, especially like work in corporate America, for me, being around men, what you do is what I say is I go like this, like you pointed out, and then you say, oh, I'm sorry, because I wear hijab, I gave myself to God, the only person's hand I can shake is my husband or my immediate family, right? And then a lot of people, their reaction is, oh, thank you, I had no idea, or I appreciate you explaining to me, because people really don't understand, and that's why they do it in the first place. So if you help them to understand, they're not only going to not and try shake your hand, the next time they see another Muslim, they're not going to try and shake that woman's hand in general. So really you're spreading it, and then you're spreading dawah, so easy fix.
Jazakumullah khairan. So, I know that we are going to have lots, by the way. We are going to have another question along the same line. You really need to go? You really need to go? Yeah, I'll give it. Yeah, go Mario. Turn it on.
So we've taught our PE, we've gotten our PE teacher, because a lot of Muslims in this, we're all Muslims in the school, and so we taught our PE teacher that us as Muslims can't touch the opposite gender. So every time he wants to high five one of the girls, he goes air five, and we air five, and like it's very simple.
Mariam, last one, Mariam.
So
So a boy can't shake a girl's hand either, right?
Sorry, say that
A boy can't shake a girl's hand either, like the opposite if it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It goes both ways.
Any addition from our sister? Yeah.
I have 3 points. First point, آية in the Quran الكريم ومن يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا. Don't always say to yourself, I have no other choice in this situation. You always want to obey Allah as possible, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make everything easy. I had jury duty, and subhanallah, everything was so easy for me. No one even asked me to show my face. So, من يتق الله يجعل له مخرجا. It's a big rules that if you always, it's your target is to obey Allah, Allah will make everything easy to you. Second, one of the youth said it's halal or haram. Dealing with other gender because you are working or learning. Deen is not like this. Because you had to deal with the other gender like when you go to the market and you go to, but who said like the girls or you had to learn this education by this way? Who said the way of education, the one all the world now had to educate it, who said you had to learn pre-calculus, it's something obligatory you had to do. So you will take it's halal or haram, and it's not going like this. It's you try your best to obey Allah. You try to do what is really you think it's your heart is الاسم ما حكى في صدرك وكره أن يطلع عليه الناس. Mean if you have something in your heart and you're really shame for the people to say it, this is ism, even it's look halal. So it's not a point of halal and haram. Last point I want to hear from the youth, the boys, the youth. So what is how you like when you're working with girls in the especially in college or high school, when you really respect the girl when you work with her, يعني how do you judge the other?
We didn't hear much from the side.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's correct. Most of the comments coming from the girl side. Let's get one from the boy side. One from the boy side. You check first how beautiful she is.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is a yes or no question. There's a boy in my class who used to be a girl. Am I allowed to work with them?
You are taking it far away. So can we table this question a little bit later on to make sure that we are even? Or do you want to answer? You want to give the answer?
Yes or no. So
listen يا شباب, we have a question.
So أولاً, so your question was he was a boy?
No, he is a boy, but he used to be a
Okay, he used to. So even that, those words, the way that you're asking the question, it shows that you're thinking a certain way. So who told you that he used to be a girl? He told you. Think about it though. Think about it from your perspective. He was a girl. He is a girl dressing up like a guy. You can't change your gender. He didn't change his biological components. He didn't replace his testosterone with serotonin.
There's surgery, Malak.
Say that again?
Am I allowed to work with them?
Okay, wait, he's a boy who...
These are very tricky waters.
No, that's not what the question is. That's what I'm saying. The question is, he is a girl that dresses like a boy. He's a girl that dresses like a boy. Am I allowed to work? This is your question. Am I allowed to work with a girl who dresses like a boy, talks like a boy, acts like a boy? That's what your question is, right?
Yes.
Okay. The idea is that you're working with somebody that obviously has different ideas about how life should be, what values are. Honestly, me, from my experience in high school, interacting with those types of people, wallahi, they're going to change the way you think. They're going to get you asking questions the same way that you ask, number one. Number two, they're going to get you to start questioning your values and your morals. You know what that girl's going to tell you? She's going to tell you to call her a boy, right? Yeah, are you down with that as a Muslim? You know she's a girl.
I just don't want to get roasted in front of all class.
I know, but we also don't want to get roasted on the Day of Judgment. Like, that's what our main priority is here. Inta, you hold on to your values. Like like what Dr. Rasha said, you have Christians who refuse to acknowledge this stuff. You have Jewish people who say this stuff is just a joke. You guys are dressing up like different genders, but I know what you are. Honestly, I can't give you an answer whether or not you should work with him, but I would say these types of people that identify in this way, you should avoid them just because they're going to mess with your head, whether you notice it or not. Then I experienced it, and they're going to get you to think a certain way.
Listen to the advice. جزاكم الله خير يا ملاك. جزاكم الله خير.
So Malak made good points, but to answer the question specifically, the same boundaries would apply as if they were a girl. I mean, as they're still a girl. But Malak, let's say, for example, if because you live in a non-Muslim country, you've already accepted the fact that Sharia doesn't apply here, and you're surrounded by sins all day long, and you can't stop them because you've accepted to live here. Like if I end up working in a hospital and a patient comes to me and they're, as you say, like, can I refuse treatment to them? Can I be like, no, I'm not going to do this?
Yeah, but he should avoid that. Those people.
Yeah, if you have a choice, for sure. But if you're in a situation, sometimes you can't choose who you deal with.
Yeah, but watch your limits. If you're forced to. If you're not forced to.
Right, let's kind of try to summarize what we have said across the question. I know the good thing about those questions is we keep discussing and we keep discussing. It's really open your heart and we get whatever inside our heart. And we have a lot of questions along this line. I know that those questions that you have been already addressing in schools, and we need to address them over here. So whenever you go to school, we hope that this is going to help you find the right answer. Getting back to the original question, the one who asked, if I am in a group with the opposite gender partner, you can absolutely tell your teacher that I don't want to work with opposite gender because of my religious reasons. And we would expect the teachers to kind of respect whatever you have said. If not, feel free to talk to your parents, let them be aware of the situations. Something that was mentioned, and I want to make sure that it does not fly by as we go. The more that you set up the limit, the more that you start telling people, I am a Muslim and I don't want to shake hand with the other gender. The more, ya shabab, that you educate people of this fact, the more that you are going to make it easier for other people. So if your generation really stick to their teachings and say, sorry, I don't want to do this, you are educating the people, making the life of the future generation easier. They are going to be more understanding, it's going to be easier for other people. I want to mention a situation from the Quran so we see how the interaction happened. Do you know a prophet, his name is Musa? Have you heard of this name before? Prophet Musa alayhi salam, when he went out of Egypt running away from the Pharaoh, and you know the story. Then he went to the city of, what was the name of the city where he stopped by? Madian. Barakallahu fikum. What did he found over there? He found two ladies. What are those two ladies doing? They have a bunch of sheep and they are standing on the side. Yes or no? There was a water well. There were lots of strong men, or men in general. They have their sheep and they were watering their sheep, correct? What did the two girls do? So my young ladies, if you are going to be in the job market, if you are going to find a job, these two ladies, they didn't say, we are doing our job, we want to water our sheep. They did not take the sheep and went among the men to water the sheep. They took a side and they kept waiting. Shabab, let's make sure that we see what the two genders are doing. So those two ladies, they found a lot of men they decided not to go inside with the men. No, we are going to remain with our sheep on the side. Prophet Musa, as a man, he came and found this situation. Why they are not watering the sheep? So he started to ask them the question. They looked that they need help, and they said, yes, we are not going to water our sheep till the other shepherds are going to get out. What did Prophet Musa alayhi salam do? He took the sheep. He watered the sheep for them. Then he returned the sheep back to them. Then what? Did he start to have a chat with them? Yeah, what's your name? What's your phone number? Can I get your Facebook? The Quran described this situation. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. He watered the sheep, then he went away. He went to sit down in the shade somewhere else. I want to come back from this ayat in the Quran and say, if there is no need to work in a mixed gender environment, feel free to ask for it. If you are forced for this environment, and I fully understand what Malak has said, sometimes you don't have a choice. And again, Sally also mentioned something, it is a bigger working group, or is it a one-to-one interaction? Make sure that you are not you and him somewhere, and you are going somewhere, you and your opposite gender partner. If it needs to be, you meet at school. Your parents needs to be aware what you are doing. Setting up the boundaries. We are doing a project together. If there is no need, we do like Prophet Musa. ثُمَّ تَوَلَّى إِلَى الظِّلِّ. Then he went away to sit down in the shade. So even for you, Shabab, learn from Prophet Musa. As soon as he did them the favor, or he did the job for them, what did he do? Did he take it as an opportunity to keep chatting, sending emails, sending message on the Facebook? No. As soon as the job is done, everyone has to go on his own. Keep this in mind, ya Shabab. Even if, so as I said, option number one, try to ask for this. And we expect many of the teachers to be understanding. And the more you talk, the more the community is going to be understanding of your needs. But if it has to happen, you can talk to them as long as, and you can see Prophet Musa talked to them. But as long as the business was over, he was not chatting with them. He immediately went away from them. Make sense? Okay, Shabab. Again, we try to open the problem, keep discussing, and I would actually, here is my point, ya Shabab. Maybe 1 hour or few minutes discussing a question may not be enough to address the question from every single aspect. So I would really appreciate our admins, our leaders, keep discussing this problem with the younger ones. Make sense? Sounds good? Okay. Let's kind of stop for this question, because I have another similar question. It is not similar.
There's a question right there.
There are lots of questions, Yasali. It's not only one question.
His hand is like
and I have
really
a bunch
high.
of questions. Forget him, Yasali. We have a lot of questions. I saw him, but I said let's move on. Here is another question. Someone is asking, can I follow the opposite gender on social media? As you can see, I have a bunch of questions, and we can reiterate those questions. Kada Shabab, to give our speakers a 2-minute break. Let me run a video, ya Shabab. Ya Shabab, we're going to come back to you addressing this question, but I want to run a 2 or 3-minute video. Ya Shabab, I want to make the announcement. Every week, ya Shabab, we post 2 videos online. Make sure, ya Shabab, you watch them. And mashallah, Abdul Rahman, he made the job and he made the counter. So this video, 13 people watched the video. May Allah reward them the best, but I want to get it to 100. And we posted these 2 videos for this week. If you go to the videos tab, you can check all the best videos. And there is a video that probably we posted a week or 2 ago. Let me run this video, ya Shabab. Do we have the sound?
There's no sound.
Because for some people, it's always there. He's a good-looking young guy. He says, وَلَا يَزْنُونَ, and they don't commit zina. They don't have boyfriends and girlfriends. They don't have secret relationships. Why did he mention that? Because for some people it's always there. He's a good-looking young guy. He walks around in the mall and the girl looks at him and goes, hee hee. And he's like, oh, this is easy. You know? Nobody's watching. Yeah, you do. You listening? You have to unfriend them. And don't call them back, and don't text them back, and when they say what happened, you don't like me anymore, you don't even say, no, it's not you, it's just Islam. Don't do that. Don't even talk back, just leave it, drop it. End of story, no more. Girls, if you're up to this, stop it. You stop yourself. You know, this is not something your parents will come and control. When you are teenagers, and you have hormones, and you reach the age of puberty, and you're attracted to the opposite gender, that means in Islam you are adults and you have to make your own responsible decisions. Your parents are no longer responsible for your Islam. You are responsible. If you are 14 years old, 15 years old, even 13 years old, and you die today, then Allah will not say, minor, go easy on it. You are trained as an adult, This religion makes you an adult early. The moment you start feeling a little funny about the other gender, you're an adult. You will be tried by Allah like a 50-year-old, like a 30-year-old. You're the same as them. Hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't think of yourself as just a kid. You are an adult. وَلَا يَزْنُونَ.
So many questions. They're good.
Okay, Layan, do you want to continue your job?
Everything that should be said is on.
Do you want to comment on this video or on the question?
I'm the animation tech. All right. What?
I have another
what do you
video that we're going to show in a little bit for you.
No.
No, but
Yasmin Ali, what do you want to say?
You can follow your brother. Oh, and just saying, if you have any social media, don't let your dad follow you, or else he'll tell you to delete every single photo.
this is very good point. Please comment on what she said. She said make sure your dad is not following you on the social media. This is your time to attack.
Didn't you just make an Instagram?
Huh?
You just made an Instagram.
I just made an Instagram to follow Yasmin.
Do you see all her selfies? Change his password. What?
What do you think?
Ahmed? Oh, for what? Yani.
Any advices, anything that you want to say?
Why are you posting selfies, Yasmin, on Instagram? What are you getting out of that?
Where else do you post?
Guys, actually, I want to make things easier and I want to break the question into two questions. Question number one. Should you really follow the opposite gender on Facebook, Instagram, social media? This is question number one. Question number two. What are we supposed to be posting on Facebook and on social media? I really see that some of your generation, if they want to go to the bathroom, they write on Facebook, I am going to the bathroom. All your life is actually on the Facebook. Please help me with these two questions. No, are you debating between yourself? I want you to address them, not between yourself.
Okay, so I have a lot of mixed feelings about this just because I'm like literally a media and communication major, so like all we talk about is media and how it affects people, what people do on it, why people go on it, why people post what they post, and all these questions. So basically, like Neda was saying, if you're on Instagram, you post pictures. That's what you do on Instagram. If you don't want to post pictures, then you don't get an Instagram. Facebook right now,
or you can just not post pictures of yourself and post pictures of other things.
Do that. Go for it. It's again like the culture we live in is it's all about connection through the interwebs, right? So it's
the point is that Yasmin, why is do you know why your dad is telling you to like take down your pictures? Well, you're young now, but when you get older and you post a picture on Instagram and somebody comes across that picture and screenshots it or saves it to their phone and they're looking at it while you're not there, who's getting the sins for looking at a picture? The man is for sure because he's not lowering his gaze, but you made that available to him, so you're still getting part of the sin.
Also, like, no matter what? Dude, no matter what goes on the internet stays on the internet. Like, you can delete it, it doesn't go away. Like, your assigned FBI guy knows everything. Like, it's all out there. So once you post something, it's just on the interwebs.
Yes, Alma.
Photo or anything, but like, what if you're a boy and then
I can't hear you. Say that one more time.
what if you're a boy and then you post a photo of yourself and it's not really bad, but another boy is gay and he goes and looks on it at it?
It's not just about boys being.
no, but I'm saying, would you still say it?
I mean, it's not just about the other guy seeing it. There are girls too. Like, lowering your gaze goes for both men and women.
Will you?
I get it.
No, would you get say it if that man looks at your photo? And they're gay.
I don't know where to start. There's just so many questions. Why are you following a gay man?
Yeah, Amar. To avoid a situation like this, make your Instagram private so you control who follows you and who doesn't follow you.
But what if you don't know they're gay, but you can? It's just a question.
Safwan, go for it.
So I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ. Why didn't he just say وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الشَّيْطَانِ, for example? Why did he say وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ? In my opinion, one of the خطوات of the shaitan, one of the steps of shaitan getting you close to being like wrong, is social media. Like, social media is one of the things that gets you closer to make something wrong.
Jazakallah khair, Safwan. Actually, you saved me one slide. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say in the Quran, do not follow shaitan. This is not in the Quran. Do not follow shaitan. It is not in the Quran. Allah says, do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. It is one footstep followed by another, followed by another, followed by another, till you do the full haram. So as Safwan, may Allah reward him, the best said, you start by the Facebook, you start by whatever, you never know how it is going to end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, from the beginning, do not follow the footsteps of shaitan. Yes, Malak.
Okay, what's your name? The person who asked the question about the
Omar.
Gay issue, Omar? Omar, okay, so we understand that these tendencies are unnatural, right? So in Islam, we know that the awrah for a man to another man, you have to cover the strictest opinion is you cover from your belly button to your rikbah, to your knees, and then there are other variations that go between that. Yani, your awrah of like lowering your gaze and watching how you act, watching how you behave, it's to the opposite gender. The person who's looking at your photos and being attracted to you, I don't see why you would be held at fault for that, because you're doing Islamically possible everything you're supposed to do. But like, the idea is, they're the ones that you're not supposed to be attracted to the opposite gender in the first place. So he's going to be held responsible for his desires, but you're not going to be held responsible because you're not revealing anything extra to him.
Jazakumullah khair, ya Malak. You are helping me with the tough question. Okay, so, ya Shabab, here are the two recommendations that I want to make sure everyone is aware of. Point number one, and this is my advice, is to make sure that you are not following the opposite gender on social media. This is my recommendation for everyone. And I have been actually telling my own girls, don't do it. I need to learn Instagram to check. But again, so ya Shabab, make sure, step number one, make sure, as you said, your whatever account is private, and girls, you are followed by girls, boys, you are followed by boys. The second one, whatever is on the internet is on the internet. So make sure that you do not post something on the internet that you may regret posting in the future. Make sure, ya Shabab, or my young ladies, Even if you notice, and probably I had a couple of fights with some of the adults. I say on Tamkeen, if we are taking picture of the girls, we want to make sure it is far away, zoomed out, group pictures. I am putting a list of restrictions on them. Yes or no? We want to be protective for you. This is how it is. Okay, again, I know these topics are... Yeah, but again, we running out of time. Inshallah, we have many questions going around the same thing, and maybe next week, inshallah, we are gonna follow. Inshallah, next week we are gonna follow up. But again,
Nada has something to say real quick.
Okay, quick, Nada, please.
I just want to say, to summarize, all the boundaries that we spent time discussing about interacting with the opposite gender in real life, like in class or whatever, the same rule applies on social media. And the one thing we established was that if it's not necessary, if you don't need to be interacting with them, then avoid it. So the same thing on social media. If you don't need to be interacting with them, avoid it and set the same boundaries. And to add on to that ayah, Allah doesn't just say in the Quran, وَلَا يَزْنُونَ. Allah also says, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا, meaning don't even come near or close to it. And that would be happening if you would follow the footsteps of the shaitan.
Barakallah feekum. May Allah reward you the best. Actually, wallahi, today, Hani, no food for Hani today. Jazakumullah khairan. There is something we want to do inshallah in 10 minutes, but before we do this, ya shabab, may Allah reward you the best. Again, some of the questions that you have been asking, we didn't even know their meaning when we were in your age. So we know that time has changed a lot. And we want to make sure that we are addressing these questions the proper way. And this is why I'm seeking help from our youth leaders. May Allah reward them the best. Every one of you who participated in the discussion, we want to make sure, ya shabab, that we are holding tight to our deen. He sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, yes, and pay attention. Whenever ya shabab I say he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, you leave anything in your hand and you listen to me. يأتي زمان, a time will come, ya shabab, the one who is holding tight to his deen is the same as the one who is holding to a piece of fire. So we know that things are gonna come difficult as we go. Ya shabab, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, بدأ الدين غريبا وسيعود غريبا. The deen has started like as a stranger, something strange, something weird. When he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam used to call the people for the sake of Allah, do whatever acts Allah commanded him to do, it started like a stranger. No one believed in him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam except few people. And he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَسَيَعُودُ غَرِيبًا. And it is going to come again. There will be a time where deen is going to come again like a stranger. Which means if you are trying to say, no, I don't want to shake hands, it is going to look weird for many people. This is what he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said. But there was a couple of words at the end of the hadith. فَطُوبَى لِلْغُرَبَاءِ. Tuba, this is place in Jannah, status in Jannah, to the ones who are gonna be like those strangers in that time. So shabab, make sure that your first choice is not to give up on your deen. Don't make giving up on your deen your first choice, ya shabab. Right. Discussion to be continued, but we have something special for today, and I want to make sure we comment on this before the end of the halaqa. And here is another video that we need to show right now. Pay attention, this is the best video that you are gonna see.